Hi everybody. So as promised, here is our class lecture on the topic of how to create a roof in Revit. And I wanted to thank you so much for allowing us to do our class in this way. I guess it's sort of an online hybrid, so that my design classes can go and judge the reflections contest over at Calvin Smith Elementary School, which I think is a pretty important thing. So I'm recording this at the college, so you may hear people moving around in the hallway, just so you know what that is. All right, so I want to start with just saying that after today's lecture, you are very likely going to have probably most of the tools that you need to create any type of model in Revit. So we know a lot, and you may not feel like you know a lot, but you actually do know a lot. You know how to work with a Revit file and save it. You know how to navigate the project browser over here, which is pretty important to navigate through views in the project. You know how to create new views. You know how to create walls. And when I say create walls, I mean not only draw them, but you know how to create wall types, right? You also know how to create we'll know roofs today, after today, but you also know how to create floors and ceilings, and you know how to create new types of those items, right? So when we need a new wall type, a new ceiling type, a new floor type, you know how to generate those. You also know how to create a drawing sheet and place one of our views from our project browser here over on that sheet and print that, which is pretty helpful, right? So I think after today, like I said, you're going to know most of the basic modeling tools in Revit that will allow you to create pretty much any type of geometry that you want. And that translates into pretty much any type of project that you would want to generate. All right, so let's talk about what a roof is in Revit. We have a model here that you can see on the screen, and right now, of course, we have our exterior walls. We have our foundation walls, we have our floor. I don't have a ceiling in there, but we talked about ceilings last time. But it doesn't look quite correct until we actually get that roof in there, right? That's kind of our last defining objects in the model to make it look like a real piece of architecture. The roof command is located here on the architecture tab. If I go over here to roof, I can click down and I have several different types of roofs that I can generate. So I have roof by footprint, okay? And this is probably very likely going to be the most common type of roof that we'll generate. This allows us to go into a sketch mode and to sketch the boundary of the roof that we want to create, and then to generate it from there, all right? We also have roof by extrusion. And a roof by extrusion will be you will use a profile, which is that magenta pinkish line showing there on the screen. It will allow you to take kind of an uncommon shape and extrude it into a roof, okay? So when you're working on a project with a wave roof or, a domed roof or some other unusual type of roof, then you'll likely use your roof by extrusion. But throughout my career, honestly, I've probably used roof by extrusion maybe one time. So by and far, you're going to be using roof by footprint most of the time. Okay, so as we move through class today, I'm going to show you how to create probably about 4 or 5 different roof types. We're going to talk about creating a gable end, a hip roof, a single slope roof, and I will actually go through creating a custom shaped roof using the extrusion tool. Okay. Before we get going, I just want to talk about a few different roofing definitions so that when I use them, you will know what they mean, all right? And I am going to, in order to be able to show you what all of those mean, I am actually going to draw a little roof here very quickly, okay? So let's see. And you can just watch at this point because we're going to learn how to do all of this in just a bit. I'm going to change my underlay to show level 2 because I want to see my building below here. And I'm just going to draw a quick little roof here. And we're going to give it a 3-foot overhang. There we go. Which didn't really seem to work. There we go. Okay. We're going to change this here. We're going to hit finish. Okay, so it doesn't look quite right, and of course we'll talk about how to make all these things look right. But I do have my roof here, and it's functioning. It looks pretty good. Okay, this is I guess it looks more like a pyramid, of course, but I guess this would be considered more of a hip roof. And we'll go through the different types of roofs, and I'll sort of define them as we move through them. But the first thing that I really want to define is the roof slope or its pitch. And that just means the angle of the roof, all right? And the roof slope or the pitch is defined by the what's called the rise over the run, all right? And so what that means is if I go into an elevation view like this, it means that if I go over a foot, we'll just say a foot, so 12 inches, and I go up, let's say 4 inches. Oops, crooked 4 inches, of course. Let me redo that real quick. Let's see here, 4 inches. We'll do 6 inches. That works pretty well. Okay, so this is going to be the run, and that's going to be the rise. So 6 inches over 12 inches. That is our slope. And what that means is that if I were to connect these two lines with a diagonal line, that would be the slope of that roof. So that is what a 612 roof slope looks like. Okay. All right. So this roof here, if I click on my existing roof here, I can look over my properties dialog box here, which is stacked above my browser, and which I think I'm just going to quickly remedy here. There we go. It's not wanting to do exactly what I want it to do, but there we go. Sorry, you guys, you're also going to notice that I'm using Revit 2018, and there are some slight differences between 2018 and 2019, okay? But with my roof selected, you'll notice that I have a slope of 912, and in real life that means that we have an overall run of 12 inches, okay, and a rise of 9 inches. That is what that would mean, all right? And so I select my roof and I look at it and I have a slope of 912, okay? So that's what roof slope or pitch means, okay? This little symbol out here, this is what a roof pitch symbol looks like. And it just really very simply shows the run over the rise, right? This I've just drawn with what are called detail lines, which are just kind of dumb lines in Revit, but it works, okay? But if you do happen to see this type of symbol and it is resting very close to a roof, that's going to indicate the slope of that roof. I want to define what an overhang is on a roof. And if I go to my roof plan here, okay, this looks a little bit odd, and we're going to fix it. It's like the roof has been chopped off, and I'll show you why in a minute. But the overhang is the portion of the roof that overhangs the exterior boundary of the wall. So this gray line right here is the perimeter of my building. That's the exterior wall. And my overhang here is 3 feet. So if I DI dimension that, I have a 3-foot overhang there, all right? So we've talked about roof slope, we've talked about roof overhang, right? Pitch, we've talked about pitch, which is also the slope. And then we've talked about the two different types of roofs that we'll be discussing today. So roof by extrusion or roof by footprint. All right. Before I actually get going on the roofing command, one other thing that I sort of want to define is how our roof is going to interact with the levels in our project, all right? So what you're seeing here, this is what a roof looks like when it's been cut off, okay? So we're seeing kind of the bottom portion of the roof, but we're not seeing that top portion of the roof, and it looks weird and cut off, okay? There's a shaded view of what it looks like. So I am going to open up an elevation view here. I'm going to open up my north elevation, and we are going to WT window tile. Oop, I've got a lot of these open. Let's close some of them. Okay, I want to have open my elevation. There we go. I want to have open my roof plan. There we go. That looks pretty good. Window tile that, and we will close my section. WT, there we go, window tile. So I'm looking at my roof plan. This is my roof plan here, all right? And my roof plan is indicated by a level that's called roof. And the way that I generated that roof level was I just created a new level using our regular old level tool, LL shortcut, or I used this icon, right? And I created a new level, all right? So there's my roof level. And when I generated my roof, okay, you'll notice that base level for my roof, which is the level that this rests on, is at roof, all right? So last time we met, side note, I guess, last time we met, we talked about a little thing called view range. And I kind of indicated very simply that it allows you to see your model in different ways, okay? And so I'm just gonna bring up view range again here. It's VR on the shortcut, keyboard shortcut, or I can come over here and find, let's go to my view range right here, okay? So view range, it's this little button right here. And right now, the view range for this view right here shows that the top of my view is to the roof, all right? So the top of my view is to the roof. I can see 7 feet 6 above my roof, essentially. Or sorry, no, the associated view level. So if I were to think of this in terms of rooms, my room would extend 7 feet 6 above my roof level. My cut plane for this view is 4 foot above the roof, all right? So if I were to close this out and to look at my roof here, I'm gonna draw a reference plane, RP. I'm gonna choose my little picker here and give it a 4 foot offset. Okay. I'm gonna rename this view range, okay? Essentially right now, what my view range is saying, which I'm going to open back up here, okay? Let's see, view range right there. Ooh, I've lost my mouse, there it is. Essentially what my view range is saying right now is that the cut plane is at 4 foot above my roof level. So this is my roof level, my cut plane is 4 foot above that, all right? And the view depth is roof, which means unless I have an underlay turned on, which I turned on in this view, I can't see anything below the roof level, okay? So I'm viewing my roof level. I can see 4 feet above it because of the cut plane. It extends 7 foot 6 above as a volumetric entity, and I can't see anything below it right now, okay? All right. So what that means is that I'm only seeing up to 4 feet of this roof, right? And that's a problem, right? It's causing a little bit of a problem right now because I want to see my entire roof on my roof plan. I just don't want to see the first 4 feet of it and have it cut off, okay? So I'm going to WT again, window tile, and I'm going to see if I can remedy that, all right? So this is some good information when you are trying to create your roof for your project in the Imbue cabin, our late term project, or in the project manual at times called the residential project, okay? So the way that we're actually going to generate our roof from now on is we're going to have to add a level and associate that roof with a level that makes sense, okay? So this is very sort of similar to creating a bottom of structure in addition to your main level floor plan. So you can have walls that are coming up attached to the bottom of structure. You can have a little assembly area for the structure, and then you have your main level that you view, all right? In actuality, where we want our wall to sit, our roof to sit, is we want it to sit at top of wall because we want to be able to view it from our roof plan level. We don't want it cut, all right? So I'm going to create a level when I create my roofs, and I'm going to call it top of wall. And I'm going to click on my roof now that I've already generated, and I'm going to change it from roof to top of wall. Okay, so now, as you can see, it looks a little bit more appropriate. And when I did that, you'll see that I do view a little bit more of the roof, right? Now the roof is still here, and I'm seeing 4 feet above that at the cut plane, but still kind of that top of my roof has been cut off. All right, so we do need to remedy that. But the first step is when you are creating your levels, before you generate your roof, make sure that you have top of wall defined, all right? The next thing that we need to recognize, and this roof is extremely high pitched, so I'm just going to change that a little bit so that we can be a little more appropriate. Look how easy that is. Just going to change the slope of my roof, really easy like that, okay? So now I'm almost seeing, well, I actually am seeing most of my roof now because there's the little, I guess, peak, right? And it is showing me the entire roof because I'm seeing 4 feet above that roofing level, all right? And it's kind of, it's working out for me, but it's not really correct. And so what I actually want to do is I want to take my roof level and I can use, I can move it or I can drag it or I can enter numbers until it sort of works for me. Let's do 28 feet. I need to make this level taller so that I can see my entire roof below it. So I'm just going to actually use my arrow keys while that level is highlighted. I'm going to nudge it up. Okay, so that looks pretty good. At 28'3", it appears as if I can very easily see my entire roof. Now I can see my entire roof, okay? All right, so let's see here. I have, okay, here we go. So what has happened over here, okay, is I've somewhat kind of messed myself up because I can't really see my roof anymore from my roof plan, which is kind of odd, right? When I move that up above the roof, essentially, it disappeared over here on my floor plan. And that's, again, not what I want to see, right? And this is, again, another view range type issue, all right? And what I want to point out to you here, it's really simple when you sort of sit down and think about it, but when it happens to you, you sort of panic, right? Oh my gosh, where's my roof? I see it in my elevations, I see it in my sections, but I don't see it in what I'm calling my roof plan, right? And that's problematic. So the reason it disappeared off of my roof plan here is because my level that is called roof is no longer engaging it, okay? So that's a huge issue. So essentially now what's happening is, and I have my little reference plane here that indicates my cut line, and I'm going to dimension that to 4 foot above my roof plane, right? Essentially now the way that my roof level is working is it's not, engaging my roof. I'm able to look 4 feet above my roof as at the cut plane, and because right now there's nothing there because my roof lives below my roof plan, I'm not seeing anything, right? Super confusing topic when you do this for the first time, but again, it's easily remedied, okay? So I can't see my roof because my roof is lying below my roof level. It's actually at my top of wall level. So instead of looking at my roof right here, if I close that out and I went to my top of wall, okay, magically I can see more of my roof. But of course, again, my top of wall is defined so that my cut plane is 4 foot above that. So I'm only seeing 4 feet above that. All right, so you're inherently seeing the problem. We have some view range issues. We have to fix them. It's just something we have to deal with, okay? So the way that we are going to fix this is we are going to create a roof level, which I will show you how to do. I'll kind of remind you how to do that. We're going to create a roofing level here. And I'm going to change the view range so that I can see one level below, and that will allow me to see in between the roof level and the top of wall level, which will very clearly indicate my entire roof. Okay. Now, if you want to see the wall below the roof, which you may want to, then we can extend that view range just a couple of feet below the top of wall so that you can see that wall beyond. I am seeing a little bit of the wall here, and it's not because I have my view range set correctly. It's actually because if I go down here to underlay, I have an underlay set. So I'm going to click on none, I'm going to hit apply, and that underlay goes away, and there's nothing except a section marker here. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go here to view range, and I'm going to make sure the top of my view range is roof. That's fine. Okay. And I'm going to change the bottom here because the bottom of my view range is also roof. But what I really want to see is the top be the roof level and the bottom of it be the top of wall. So the bottom of my view range is going to be top of wall. Let's see, right there, the level below, top of wall. And my view depth is also going to have to be changed to top of wall. So what Revit is saying is you want the bottom to be top of wall. Do you also want to see your view depth be top of wall, which will allow me to extend it just a little bit below that, okay? So I'm making them the same because I can make an offset of, negative 1 foot, and I can apply that. And that will just sort of override that top of wall to be just slightly below that, negative 1 foot, and I'll be able to see the wall below, okay? All right, so I apply that, I hit OK. Now let me just tell you, if I had not changed that and I'd hit OK, I'd get an error and it would say, hey, your view depth is set above your bottom clip plane, which means that this roofing level is above top of wall. So I have to change this to top of wall in order for the system to work. Okay. I apply that, I hit OK, and now my lovely little roof is back. All right. Okay. So and I lied a little bit, I guess, because my roof is a solid entity and I can't really see the wall below it. But if I select my roof here, I can view the wall below it. All right. Whereas if I had not given that view range a -1 offset, so it's down here now, I wouldn't have even been able to see that wall there. Okay, so when you generate your first roof plan, you're probably going to generate it and you're going to panic because you're not going to be able to see exactly what you want to see. And in fact, your view range will probably be blank, or your floor roof plan will probably be blank, and you'll panic even more because you'll be thinking, well, I know that I had a roof in there and I can see my roof, but where is it exactly? Okay. All right. So I'm going to do just a few things in my file. I'm going to delete a few things. And then we're going to run through the entire process of creating a roof plan from scratch. Okay, so I'm going to delete my, if it will let me. Oop, Revit is really not liking what's happening. Hopefully it recovers here. It's really stuck, and I'm wondering if we're going to lose our recording here. Oof.